Welcome to Intermediate Blending, a follow-up series to Beginning to Blend. I'm JoRaSe, your host for this series, just like the last. Now, let's delve in and begin. So today we're doing a 1 pound weight. This is the higher detail. We're going to be doing a smaller detail based on this and then texturing it today. Working on this one will be next session, and with that said, let's get at it. So the first thing we need to do is add in a blank mesh, and just add in a plane, move it into the center. Start screencast display. Now we're going to hit tab to go ahead and open it up and delete vertices. Want to add in a circle, and we want it to be 12 vertices. Rotate it on the x-axis by 90, and then rotate it on the z-axis by 90 to get it where it needs to be, and move it into the center, like so. Get it scaled up in line with the other cylinder, and extrude it over to the right. Extrude it once more to the next, to about here, and scale that up, and extrude it once more all the way up and out, like so. One more extrusion just to give it a little bit of a rounded edge. And then we're going to go back down a little bit, like so. Extrude this all the way down to where it matches the bar again. And just take it out about to here this time. And there is our nearly finished smaller barbell. We're going to extrude this down and out one last time. Now going into shaded view, we can extrude it one last time and merge at the center. So we've got our first half. We can duplicate it using Shift and D, and we want to mirror it across the y-axis. It's wrong. We want to mirror it across the x-axis, and we want to flip it so the normals are facing the proper direction. And this is just the easy job of merging the vertices in the middle here. Go to vertices select mode and start merging. works better if you get the right keys. Alt-M, not Control-M. And definitely not just M. So now we've got our two weights. One's a low poly and one is a high poly. So we want to texture the low poly today and then the high poly next time. So let's go ahead and get seams marked on the low poly model. And we just want to mark where it really needs the divisions. So these that I'm marking are the real important ones. And we'll do one on the bottom as a straightening as a way to unfold everything properly. So with everything marked, we can go into shading UVs on the left and mark seam. And now let's go and split the area, turn the right editor window into the UV image editor, and we're going to go back to shading UVs and do a simple unwrap. Gives us this. And we see we need to make a couple of changes to the UVs that we've mapped out. Mainly these need to be separated off. So we mark those as additional seams and now re-unwrap it. And we get this. So let's pull everything down, make the window larger, and go into face select mode in the UV image editor. And we're just going to move these on top of each other, making sure the smaller stay together and the large stay together as well. That way everything lines up properly. So there we go for those. And now for these. Grab them all and move them up. Now for the to get everything selected properly, the easiest way is going to be using a tool we haven't before, but it is sync select, or select sync, however you want to call it, but you can select the UVs you're dealing with and it'll show which ones it is on the actual model. So if we select these, it shows it up over here. And those are the ones that we're wanting. Let's go into face mode. And we're just wanting the ones for the bar. And so that would include these. So we can go ahead and select them here, and it selects it over here. So you can grab the other end, and there we go. Now we want to leave sync mode because if we don't, it's going to cause problems. Select everything that we wanted selected there. And now we can move these around like we need to. So these I'll just put on top here and right down here. Scale them down a little bit, not too terribly much. Put them right there, pin them. And now the actual weights themselves, we'll have them in this orientation. Scale them up a fair amount and move them into our UV editor grid. Go into wireframe, and we want to flatten all of these on the X and Y. So it's going to be S, X, 0, enter, S, Y, 0, enter for every one of them. All right, got that done. Now we can pin those. And that just leaves these two things, which are going to be this ring, and these are the bigger portion. So we need to grab those as well. And these don't have really any detail. So we're just going to move one set on top of the other. Doesn't have to be exact this time, but just to conserve space on the UV map. We can put them in there just like that. And these are the upper portions of the two, or the outermost edges of the weights themselves. And we're just going to leave those the way they are and move them up into the UV map. Let's rotate them 90. And put them right about there. Let's reorient the weights so we can get them scaled up a little bit more. Actually, let me make better sense if I scaled them both up at the same time. This way, we can know exactly how big they can be before there's a chance of any issues being caused. And that looks big enough. So there's our UV map. Let's go ahead and export it. And we want it going into the texture file. So we're going to call it 1 pound weight.png, but we want to change it to LODA. So there we go. Export all UVs and export the UV layout. Now let's start up our Inkscape program. And let's go ahead and open up the file. And you may be wondering, well, now wait a minute. We don't really have a master SVG or PNG supplied to give us the colors we should be working with here. And that's because sometimes you, as the modeler, have to do it all on your own. So what we're going to do is the entire model texture from scratch as well. First thing we're going to do is block out the areas that need texture with just basic rectangles. So grabbing the rectangle, go ahead and cover each area, making sure that the opacity is taken down to about 75. Allows you to see the object or the pattern behind, so you can get it sized properly while still seeing the actual rectangle. And we can duplicate it and move it down to cover the next portion. And we're just going to take this all the way over to here. And let's add in another duplicate, and working on the same area. Well, no, we'll do that one a little bit differently. So this one we're going to move over here. And now we've got a problem because it would be connecting here. But it's not that bad of a problem. We just have to be a little bit creative in how we make this work. And we do it like so. And there. Now to get these, we're just going to do the same thing that we've been doing. Get one box down. Carry it all the way across. Like so. Though I don't really like that, so let's go for a different approach. We will freehand it in so that each one is filled in such a way that we know what the underlying object is, since these are the biggest and most important pieces here. There we go, and now we want to do the same down here on the handle portion, or the grip section. So we're just gonna rough it in. There we go. And now we want to have these sections filled in as well. But let's choose a different color to differentiate. Solid blue there, and for this one, we'll go solid blue as well, but we'll use a lighter one. And knock the transparency down to, opacity down to 75 as well on both. Okay, now what we need to do is bring in our proper colors. So for the weights, they're generally a gray. And they're usually a kind of a middling darker gray. So about like that. And there's also usually a weight label. So let's make a label. These are 1 pound weights. So 1 lb. Give me a moment. To quickly verify something. So that the viewers and users in European countries can follow along. We're going to include the comparison. So this would be 0.45 kilogram. And let's get that centered up like so. Now we can move this down like so. It being black is the way it should be. We will duplicate it. And move it down onto the inside as well. Now these can go up all the way to 100 again. Next is the lighter gray colors. These, and that's going to be, like I said, a lighter gray, so along that line. So we can now max that opacity out. These get just a slightly darker gray and max it out. And last of all is the grip section, which gets a darker gray color, and go ahead and max it out. So there is our texture map. Let's save it and go back into Blender, open our image, hit the tab key and go into texture view, and there we have our smaller weight. The bigger one is one I've used for my logo. So that's why some of it looks textured, but we're gonna put our own texture onto it later on. Right now we're just making sure everything looks right on this one, and these need to be rotated, which we kind of knew would be the case. So let's select each of those. So this one needs to flip on the Y and then on the X. And the same for the top here. Flip it on the Y and on the X. And there we go. Let's see, rotate it just a little bit. There we go. And same thing on this one, rotate it. And now everything matches up with the other side. So there we have our first weight. That's all for this session of Polygonal Art with JoRaSe. If you enjoyed what you saw, how about giving this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos from me. In the video description below, you'll find my Patreon link. Feel free to check it out. Now, on to the credits.